When I stopped looking, I found Siddharth.
You went through this phase, like where relationships...
Actually, I've never wanted to be married. I have to be honest with you. I never saw myself as someone who could get married. I'm just going to date now. Just have fun. And at a time when I wasn't expecting it to go anywhere, I met Siddharth.
I guess I'm just going to date now. I'm just
Yeah.
going to have fun. Where do you belong? What have you figured? What have your 40s been like till this point?
Oh, beautiful. I cannot tell you how liberating it is to be a 44-year-old. And I used to think that, oh, what rubbish. How can everyone have the same experiences? How is it that every woman beyond 40 says, I don't care? But really, you don't care. You know, I think it's just fascinating. Right? You just beyond 40, I don't know about men, but I think women begin to care less and less and less about what other people think about them.
Not going to make this intro too long. What I will say is that there's very few professionals from the world of films who are able to talk this eloquently, who are able to open up their heart in front of the audiences in this manner. And I will definitely say that she's been on my original wish list for this podcast ever since we began. One of my personal favorite episodes that I've ever done was with her husband, Sid Roy Kapoor, who was also my mentor at that point in my life. Trust me, you're going to enjoy this conversation if you enjoy raw, vulnerable conversations. Vidya Balan's new film, Niyat, is releasing on the 7th of July. Go watch it in a theater near you. But for now, enjoy this beautiful, heartfelt episode of TRS featuring Vidya Balan. Vidya Balan, ma'am. Welcome to TRS.
Thank you.
I've been looking forward to talking to you for so long.
I know, actually, me too, because I've seen some of your interviews, and the first one of yours that I watched was with Siddharth, the one you did with Siddharth, and I thought it was such an unusual way of interviewing, you know, and it's very in-depth, so... Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm not looking for headlines. I'm honestly looking for a very selfish conversation that will just benefit me.
Sure.
And then we share that with the audience.
I don't know about benefit, you know. But yeah, let's just have a conversation.
How are you?
I'm very good.
What's been up?
I'm... a lot has been up. A lot of quiet time. You know, of course, I'm gearing up for my release, Niyat. But I've just been enjoying reading all over again after 10 years.
Yeah.
So that, for me, I thought I wouldn't be able to read ever again. I couldn't pick up a book. I couldn't get through a book, like more than a chapter. And I'd be like, no, it's just not gripping me. And I guess because you'd gotten so used to watching content, right? That it was, I don't know, at least with me, I'd stopped reading. So I'm overjoyed about the fact that I'm able to read for leisure again, not just for work. For work, of course, we read. But, you know, for leisure, I'm able to read. And I've had a lot of time to myself. So, and I always get that time because I do 1 or 2 films a year. So I take time off for myself to do the things I want to do. Travel, spend time with family, just spend time with myself. So yeah, it's been a wonderful time, yeah.
One of the most common things that college students today or teenagers today are facing is this whole comparison mindset. And I think, honestly, though Gen Zs born after 1998 are way smarter than people roughly my age, they're also messed up in some ways, and I think they're aware of it in terms of the mental health is all over the place.
Yeah.
It comes from a place of having grown up in the world of social media. Like from the time the memory started forming, social media was already there. So it's created a very isolated comparison mindset in some of them. A lot of urban Gen Zs, for sure.
Don't you think every generation feels that about
the next
the
one?
following generation?
You tell me.
I think so.
Okay.
I think we've been, maybe there's, of course, social media has brought about that much more awareness.
Okay.
So, you know, even mental health, not that there were no mental health issues, not that there was no stress. I think every generation has faced stress in their own way. But I think now, because we're talking about it so much, because people are putting it out there, people are saying I'm going through depression, people are saying I'm bipolar, people are saying, I'm feeling lonely. I feel there's so much, because there's so much conversation around it, I think it's magnified.
Okay.
I personally feel that that's not true. We've all faced, it's very, very, I don't even think it's fair to compare the
Generations.
struggles of two different generations.
Okay.
That's my personal opinion. I just feel that I remember when I was growing up and I would watch a lot of TV, my parents would be like, we didn't grow up with a TV, we didn't have a telephone, and what is this? You're getting exposed to all sorts of things. And then now we're saying that about not then it became the mobile. Now the generation, we're talking about AI.
Hmm.
So I think every generation as
Technology advances.
yeah, and we evolve technologically.
Hmm.
I think we feel the previous generation feels you're losing emotional connect. I'm not sure it's absolutely true.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Do
I've
you?
not read up on this or anything. Huh? This is my personal.
No, no. I'm
Ah,
relaying the
yeah.
truth to you. I've
Ah,
figured it through working with a lot of Gen Zs and
yeah.
having Gen Z guests as
Yeah.
well. They themselves will say this. Like they're very aware of how smart they are, but they're also very aware of how social media is kind of altering the neuroscience a little bit
Right.
in their own
Right.
heads. Like when you
Maybe.
watch that much short
So,
content.
so, so that's what I'm saying. Mine is not based on any. I'm not read up or I've had conversations with people, but this is my. I
Okay.
really feel very strongly about it.
Okay. Uh, do you want to, if you're comfortable,
Yeah.
do you want to shed light on a phase of your career or your professional life which was extremely character building in terms of bad mental health sprouting into like whatever you are now?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there were two such phases. Actually, no. I think life is about ups and downs, right? You think that, oh, this was the one definitive phase until the next one. Because unless we go through those definitive phases, we're never going to grow beyond them. So there was one phase at the beginning of my career when I just graduated from Xavier's, and I had started doing ad films. I had gone down south to do an ad film, and one of the model coordinators asked me if I wanted to audition for a Malayalam film opposite Mohanlal. Now, it was my dream to be an actor. I didn't know how it would materialize, right? Because I don't come from a film family. And my parents had given me the freedom to at least do television. But it took a lot of convincing, especially with my mother. My father was still okay. So I was like, if it happens somehow, it's fine. But I don't know whether I'm going to be able to pursue it. And this opportunity literally fell into my lap. I auditioned, got through. The next thing I know, the director is in Bombay to meet me. My family, with family in tow, my parents and my sister and me landed up to meet the director, did the film, and um, after about, I think, maybe 10-15 days of shooting for the film, suddenly the schedule was called off. And we were sent back to Bombay, and they didn't even tell me, the real reasons. And I didn't know anything. You're too new. No one on the unit is going to tell you the truth. I came back to Bombay, and I started getting offered lots of South films. And the South films as in Malayalam films. And I thought, oh my God, Mohanlal ke baad kaun? Vidya Balan. That's what I thought, right? And before I knew it, the news of my first film, Chakram, getting shelved came out. When that happened, now, this was a partnership that had delivered 8 blockbusters between Mohanlal and the director, Kamal. So now they said, oh, what went wrong there? This girl is jinxed. Because they labeled me jinx, they started coming out in magazines and publications. I got thrown out of a whole lot of films that I'd been signed for. And when I say signed, there was no signing. It was all verbal commitments. So I think within a span of 3 years, I was there were 3 films. There was one film I was literally thrown out of after shooting for it for a week. There were 2 films, including Chakram, that got shelved midway. And there were 9 other films in which I got replaced. It was a very tough time. And I was like, I'm someone who prays a lot. And I was heartbroken. I was like, if you, um, I had these conversations with God. I had a Sai Baba mandir close to my house in Chembur. I would go there when there was no one around in the night. I would sit there and I would have conversations with Baba, and I'd say, why did you dangle the carrot in front of me if this is what you were going to do? I couldn't understand because I had done nothing wrong, and I felt like I was being punished for something I hadn't done. I would cry a lot. I would fight a lot with my mother, but I would also have lots of conversations with my father, my sister, and my brother-in-law. And I felt like I really began to believe, Ranveer, that I'm jinxed. I think that's the worst, because it's okay for me to tell you that, you're, just as an example, you're dumb. But if you begin to believe you're dumb because I am saying it, that is where the damage comes in, right? And I began to believe I'm jinxed. So I think and at that time, for the first time, I'd done about, I don't know, 70, 80 ad films by then already. At that time, there were times, for the first time, I got dropped from an ad film at the nth moment. Another episode I did with Irfan, as a matter of fact, no one knows that Irfan and I have worked together. We did an episode for a television show. And amongst all the episodes, there were episodic stories. Amongst all the episodes that got released, ours was the only one that didn't. So it's like fear is a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's exactly like that. I began to believe it. Now, when I look back, I'm like, God knows what kind of faith I had to have gotten through that time.
Maybe your faith was being tested.
It was being tested. I think it's like, a diamond being polished. And I'm not meaning to say that I'm a diamond now, but you know what I mean, just as an analogy. I was really being put through the ringer to know who I am first, and to realize how much I love what I'm about to do, that I'm going to get the opportunity to do, because I'd like to believe that this is what I'm going to do lifelong.
Like they say that sometimes the universe starves you
Yeah.
before it gives you what you need.
Exactly. I think that's what happened. It
But
was
I think the universe starved you, beat you up a little bit, pinned you to the ground, termed you as a black cat. And then gave it to
all
you.
of that. But the amazing thing is, despite that, which is why I'm saying, when we spoke about confidence a little while ago, there must have been some kind of self-confidence in there, some self-belief in there, despite all the hate, the anger I was feeling, because of the amount of rejection I was facing. I still think there was something that kept that fire burning. There were times when I went to bed crying. My pillow would be wet with my tears. But the next morning, I'd wake up with renewed hope. So I think there is definitely something inbuilt. It's also probably how my parents brought us up to believe that prayer gives you a lot of strength. My understanding of God and prayer has evolved over the years. But at that time, God was something outside of me that I could. Today, I don't look at it like that. But at that time, which is why I used to go to the temple, sit and cry. And I thought that there was someone out there who was responsible for, all that was happening. But because of that faith that someone was watching over me, that the universe has my back. These are things that I think unconsciously, subconsciously, I have inherited from my parents. I think because of that, I saw through that time. So, and there have been many such phases, but I think this phase was definitive because it made me realize how desperately, maybe desperately has a slightly desperate connotation, but how deeply I wanted to be an actor, and that I will not let anyone else define me.
You know what it looked like from our eyes as audiences? Because I remember when Paranita had come out, then I remember there was this whole phase
Yeah.
where you were in like every hit movie.
Yeah.
It looked like this human being has been blessed a
Yeah,
lot to
yeah.
have these, like that's what it looked like on the outside.
No, but I feel that I was, and I am immensely blessed, Ranveer, because I don't know if I would have been able to handle the success that came my way post Parinita if I hadn't gone through that. Because I come from a non film family. You know, I'd never seen um, anyone experience fame. So you don't know what sort of thing that is, you know. So, maybe I would have lost my bearings. Maybe I would have gotten waylaid. I don't know. And I still did. I still did, you know, because but for someone who, after all that struggle, you see success, and then you begin to fear that you're going to lose it
Once you get it.
once you get it. Because you don't think, you feel like, I used to sometimes feel like, you know, I suffered from the imposter syndrome, I think. I felt like, oh my God, people are going to know at some point that I'm not good enough. Because deep down, growing up a fat girl, I had that issue of feeling like I was not good enough. So, you know, everything, nothing's, there are no straight lines, right? It's all intertwined. There's no one answer, one solution. There's no one question. So I think that was definitely the most definitive phase. But I'd say, and I can go on and on and on. So
Yeah,
you
sure.
have to interrupt me whenever.
No, I'm loving listening to you. I just want to say excess body fat as a kid.
Yeah.
If you take the right steps and fix your lifestyle, it turns into the kindness you can see in someone's eyes later.
Right.
Because you've been bullied so much as a
Yeah,
kid
right.
that when you grow up, if
Yeah.
you get fit as an adult,
Yeah.
you know what being bullied feels like.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I felt like you were a little bullied even after you got famous.
Yeah. But I think because body has always been an issue, body image has always been an issue. And let's say I've had, you know, I've had a history of hormonal issues. And today I work at it also. I work with a healer. I've been working with a healer for the past 12 years.
I don't mean to cross a line with you. And the
Yeah.
only reason I'm sort of crossing a
Yeah.
line with you is because PCOD and PCOS are very hot internet topics.
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking?
Yeah, there are many
Okay.
things. But if you want me to mention that,
I'll tell you why I want you to mention it. Because when a male fitness YouTuber makes a video on PCOD and
Yeah.
PCOS, girls feel like someone's speaking up for
Yeah,
them.
yeah.
I'd rather have a woman like talk about
yeah,
this subject.
sure. So I've had a history of hormonal issues, PCOD being one of them, but not the only thing. But I think that also, you know, I've been working with a healer for the past 12 years. Again, there are no straight answers, but PCOD or hormonal issues come from a deep rejection of the feminine. And I think I always wanted to be better than a boy. I always, because
Maybe you didn't grow up with a brother, that's why?
no, I didn't. And, you know, I'd often hear, I think my mother had wanted a boy because she already had my sister. And she had just mentioned it to me that, you know, I thought I'd have a boy and then I happened to have a girl. So I felt like, oh, but more than that, it was the way the boys around me were treated. Not, of course, it's just my parents, Priya, my sister, and me within our family, but even in the extended family and all, it was almost like there was, right, there was a certain extra something accorded to the boys. And that I couldn't quite understand. So, and I remember once there was a conversation between my uncle and my father when my uncle told my father that, don't worry, you know, my son will be there for you until, you know, basically, I don't want to say it like that, but my son will always be there for you. And I was so angry because we were sitting there, both of us, my sister and me. And I was like, we don't need anyone else's son to be there for my father. We are both, by God's grace, able bodied, able minded. And we don't need anyone else to be. So I think these things, even if they were just said without any intention of, because it's conditioning, right? I think these things left a very deep impact on me. I think I've always competed with the boys.
So it gave you ambition?
It did give me ambition also. It did. But having said that, I think it also, what it did is, it made me deny my femininity, which is why the hormonal issues. So mine is not just one. I've had a history of hormonal issues, so it's always been a challenge for me to shed weight. When people get surprised when I tell them that I actually love working out and I'm someone who works out regularly. And I've had people tell me, you must not be working out, na? Or you must love your food. And these things used to piss me off before. Now it doesn't. Because I know who I am and I don't have to prove anything to you. But there was a time when it would really anger me because I would feel like they were judging my body. And actually, so I think it's, so coming back to what we were talking about. So I've been working with a healer for the past 12 years. And it's been wonderfully revelatory how everything in my life went back to the body finally. If a film didn't work, I thought it was because of the body.
Wow.
It's that deep rooted because actually we don't realize how we human beings see ourselves as our bodies. Because so therefore, how you see your body, how the world sees your body, all of that, and the world will see your body the way you see your body, I think
women go through it more than guys.
For sure. Because body is such a large part of our identity, right? We're
your worth is associated with how you look.
Worth, the honor of the family depends on your body and how you behave with your body.
Right. Wow. The honor of the family.
Yeah, exactly. So can you believe the burden we actually carry on the kind of responsibility that we carry to therefore lead ourselves in a certain way, therefore conduct our bodies in a certain way. So we see ourselves primarily as bodies.
Okay. Should I begin by saying I know where the Sai Baba Mandir is?
Do you?
I do. I think it's near Jhama.
No, not that one.
Okay.
I lived near Chembur Church, closer to Diamond Garden.
Okay.
And this was between the 11th and 12th road.
Gotcha. Okay, all right. I've grown up kind of in Chembur.
Oh, really?
Like I have, my cousins live in Chembur. I know Chembur fairly well. In order to unpack this, you've given me a very heavy start.
Sorry.
No, it's great. It's great. This is what podcasts are for. Right. It's real conversation.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, these are things I wish to speak about. I wish to have the podcast talk about as well, but we need famous people to talk about this.
Right.
That's when people listen.
Right.
That's what's sad.
Yeah.
But people are listening to podcasts nowadays.
Yeah, they're listening to all kinds of podcasts, not just by famous people. But I think it always helps to start with the famous people just to draw people in. And then I think that's what's happening.
I always believe that God gives certain souls fame in order to actually put these messages out on a larger scale.
That's also true.
I want to ask you, so this is like something I wanted to ask you at the start of the episode. Imagine I'm asking a 2010 Vidya Balan this same question. So first answer it as the 2010 version and then answer it as the 2023 version. What's fame like?
Wow. Wow, what's fame like?
First as 2010 Vidya Balan.
Yeah, as 2010 Vidya Balan, it's heady, but it's also scary. In 2023, I think it's beautiful.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I think I've made peace with who I am. And still I'm saying, Ranveer, to a much larger extent than I did before. So it's a lifelong process. But I think there's no fear of being found out. I'm not scared of what you'll see in me. which is why I'm not scared if a room full of people, if a theater full of people are watching me. Whereas it was scary then because I was scared that they'll see that I'm not who they think I am on screen. I'm no longer scared of that.
Okay. Anything else you want to say?
No, just this.
I feel like through this podcast, like the podcast has only been picked up recently. You know, it's gone mainstream recently, and fame suddenly increased. And I've also seen so many down phases in my career that I know how fleeting it is. Have you had that feeling? I'm assuming when you got that first flop, Ganchakkar,
Yeah.
after.
No, I'd had flops before that. But yeah, the flop after the spate of successes. I definitely think in that sense, yes, fame is fleeting. But so is the lack of it.
Ooh. Okay.
You know, nothing is permanent.
Okay.
And it's when you know that we'll never come across this day another time or this moment another time, you realize that nothing that exists now can, you know, ever be repeated. So, and every time there's a lull and then there's a low and then there's a high, it's a different low and a different high. No two lows are the same, no two highs are the same.
I've had film industry leaders on the show, actors who are probably in their 50s, mainstream stars. They would have answered the same question in a very negative manner. Very
Really?
genuinely, but in like because they
Yeah.
have a negative relationship with fame. In terms of they're not arrogant, they just like, dude, it's too fleeting. There's too much pressure on me.
But you know, it's this. Someone asked me a beautiful question in an interview a little while ago. They said, what do you want to be remembered as? And, you know, what about your legacy? And I was like, I don't care how I'm remembered. Because once I'm not there in the body, you know, it doesn't matter. If you're good to me when I'm here, in the now, you know, I'm happy. Because I don't know. Ki once I'm gone, I don't know. No one knows. We all talk about energies and all that, but I don't know whether this is even going to matter.
Fame and legacy
Yeah,
and
exactly.
your body of work.
Exactly.
Okay.
Who knows? If people remember me, great. If they don't remember me, great.
Okay.
As long as you're good to me when I'm around and I'm good to you when I'm around.
Okay.
You know? So I think to each his own. I'm not, it really depends on your experiences. I think my experiences have taught me that the world is a very kind place. I've received so much love. I feel I've been blessed with abundance in every way. You know? So I feel very grateful. All I wanted to do was act. And I'm doing that. You know, how can this get any better?
Yeah. I love your husband.
So do I actually.
I have a bro crush on him. he's a great guy. Like, I've actually messaged him once saying, I wish you were my actual elder brother in life.
Oh,
Like,
that is so sweet.
yeah, you're a very blessed person to have.
I am. I completely agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not too many people know about you guys. Like, I had asked him on the show, and he's very private as a person.
And I remember the answer he gave, and I looked at him and I said, what is this that you've said? Because the moment you ask him about me, he just, you know, he kind of, he doesn't like to talk about his personal life at all. And I'm not sure, you know, I was like that. But over the years, I think I've also become like that.
Private?
I've always been private, but I thought it was, you know, I was also playing to the gallery when I said things about him or I spoke about, I wanted to sensationalize things. And now when I look back, I think that's what I was doing. But now I'm more, I think also we've been together almost 11 years. No, not 11, 13 years. So, yeah, but I agree. Thank God for that. I do agree that I'm blessed to have him in my life.
You're very evolved to be admitting things like this. People aren't so honest on the internet. Like,
Yeah,
I feel a very honest energy while talking to you.
really?
Yeah.
I,
But
I, I don't know.
no, it's great. It's great. Like, there's no layer, like, in between what you're saying and what the truth is. That's not the case when you talk to a lot of famous people.
Right.
Hmm. If you don't answer, don't answer.
Yeah.
Okay. How did you guys win each other's hearts? If you don't feel like answering it, don't answer it.
No, I think obviously it's always last us at first sight.
Both are sapiosexuals. Both are just really smart, really straightforward, well-spoken people.
No, because I can tell you that we, of course, there was some connection, but it starts with a physical attraction, right? So initially, he's a very good-looking man. To me, he's the most good-looking man I know, and but I also got attracted to the fact that he's a very secure man. More secure than most men I've met. And without taking away from that, I just want to say, because I've seen my father who's very secure. So I think, and they say, right, you look for your parents in your partners, in your partner. And therefore, I think what drew me to him was how secure he was, being who he is. And he's very private, but very authentic. There's no, there's no,
Facades.
yeah, there's no facade really.
Yeah.
There's no, he can't, he's not fake.
Okay.
And I don't know whether, I think that's a choice you make, right?
Yeah. The first time I saw him in a room, I went up to him and I didn't say hi or how are you. I said, so you're my idol.
Really?
and he was like, oh, thank you. And he gave me room to even like speak to him. And there were other people in that room who saw this and started judging me. And I picked up the judgment, but I didn't care because I was talking to him.
Right,
And he's
right.
genuinely my business idol. Especially at that point, I was
Right.
it was media entrepreneurship in my head. So I'd studied him. And he was so humble and he came down and spoke to me. A month after that, he was on the show, etc., etc. So I love him. But I want to know if you hit on him first or he hit on you first. Who hit on who?
I think I didn't.
Okay.
I don't know whether he hit on me, but I definitely think he made the first move.
Okay.
Because I don't think I would have made the first move. Yeah.
Because at that time you were going through all those.
No.
Oh, just as.
I just think that, fame was also new to me. So I didn't know how people, whether he wanted to be with the actor or with the person, or, those are things that you wonder about when. So I just wanted to be. I wouldn't have made the move with anyone.
Okay.
Because this was so fresh, right? Okay. Fame was a new thing I was faced with. So yeah, he made the first move.
He impressed you with his brain.
I think with everything.
Okay, cool. Fame. Let's go back to fame a little bit. I like what you said about you didn't know who's trying to date you just because you're Vidya Balan, the actor, who's trying to date Vidya, the person. That's a real thing, right?
And not just in terms of dating, huh?
Friendship. Yeah,
friendship. Those were very hard lessons I learned early on. I didn't realize that, in this, I call it the curse of the profession. I'm saying I call it because I've spoken about this a few times to my closest people, about how in this profession, everyone is a means to an end. You're never the end.
Wow. This is social climbing explained in a much more intense way.
Yeah, like people are interested in you when you're successful, when you're famous, because of what that association can bring them. And I'm not saying everyone, but to a large extent, or most people, right? They are not interested in knowing, oh, how is Vidya feeling today? How's Ranveer feeling today? You know, um, what is he? Is he having a good day? Is he? No. If I'm interested in whether you're having a good day, if you then feel that I'm showing interest in you, and therefore it's a way to ingratiate themselves a lot of times. But because it takes time to build equations, whereas everyone with a celebrity or with a public figure, whatever you call us, right? I think people are in a rush to forge equations. You know,
Wow.
they just because, and they not that they're sitting and manipulating and strategizing and saying, it's just the way we human beings are wired.
Survival instinct.
Yeah, I don't know if I would be the, and not just survival instinct, it's what can we get from the other, right? So I don't know if I would be like that if I was faced with maybe Michael Jackson. You know?
Okay, cool.
So I think it's the nature of the beast. It's the nature of fame.
Okay. How are you feeling today, Vidya Balan?
Very good. Thank you. No, I actually, I enjoy promoting my films. I have to say, that's the only time I do interviews. That's the only time I interact with people. Otherwise, I'm literally in hibernation in between my films. You know, I'm either shooting or promoting, or then no one knows where I am.
Where are you?
At home most of the, either at my place or my parents' place or my sister's place or my in-laws. These are the 4 places you'll find me. And or traveling, but I'm in my own world.
Okay.
So I today I've had a great day. I've stepped out, I've met people, I've spoken about various things. You know, it's always, and this is like such an unusual conversation, not the kind that we've had during the rest of the day also.
What do you use to people asking you usually?
Usually अपने character के बारे में कुछ बताइए. You know? And today I have to say that all the interactions have been unique, but this is very unusual.
This is weird.
In a positive not way. Weird.
I don't mind. Like,
no, but weird. Not weird. I love it. I could have this conversation forever.
Where do you belong? What have you figured? What have your 40s been like till this point?
Oh, beautiful. I cannot tell you how liberating it is to be a 44-year-old. And I used to think that, oh, what rubbish. How can everyone have the same experiences? How is it that every woman beyond 40 says, I don't care? But really, you don't care. You know, I think it's just fascinating. Right? You just beyond 40, I don't know about men, but I think women begin to care less and less and less about what other people think about them. So it's just great. And I think I was anyway on that journey from before. Maybe because I'm an actor, I was propelled in that direction earlier. But it's amazing. I feel free today. I feel free to just be who I am.
Okay.
So I'm enjoying myself.
Been liberating.
So, yeah, like I don't like to sit with my feet down. I'm being very honest with you. You know, and now I've started doing that in all my interviews. I'm saying, unless someone says that there is some issue, it's not, if they're uncomfortable with it, it's okay. I respect that. But otherwise, I'd rather, you know, my legs don't reach the floor most times. It's uncomfortable.
Why would someone not be okay with this thing?
But I'm just saying, if it's not looking good on camera according to them or whatever, I respect that. It's their show. I'm a guest, so I would do it. But, you know, it's great to not care.
You know, with guys, I've seen it's half and half. Like there's some guys who become very self-actualized, like how you're describing. With women, I've usually seen them getting self-actualized a lot in the 40s. This is just my observation from being 29, 30 right now. And I might be entirely wrong about all this. But with guys, it's definitely half and half. Because I'm a guy, I know what the masculine journey is like. Some guys feel really bad that the masculinity is getting challenged and the testosterone's reducing and they're losing muscle mass. And they feel like now their opportunities for success have gone away. And some guys become more and more peaceful. Have you seen a lot of the negative masculine journeys? With other
not
people?
really.
Really?
Not really. But I will say self-preservation is much higher amongst women. I've seen, for example, women who are,
I didn't understand
No,
that.
I'll tell you what I mean by that is beyond, I think beyond 60, all the women I see around me beyond 60 care far more about preserving themselves, about keeping fit and healthy than the men around me. And I think because women spend a lifetime caring for everyone else, right? So at some stage at that post 40s, when they're probably premenopausal or menopausal, I think they begin to take care of themselves. And which is why also we've had our bodies change so much on a monthly basis. There are signs of the body changing. So you're more used to adapting to change. Whereas men don't go through so many changes. So which is why I think they get thrown, for example, after they retire, a lot of men don't know what to do. After they're not that virile, I guess they don't know what to do. Maybe it's a combination of all those things.
Yeah.
But I definitely think not negative, but I think men, for them in their later life, it's a bit tougher.
Because your body suddenly become, I'll give you
Yeah,
the perspective here. A lot of my guy friends who've not taken care of themselves, my age, 1993 born, are suddenly getting a lot of health problems, including ED and things like erectile dysfunction at my age.
Already?
Yeah. Who've not taken care at all of their bodies in terms of
No, I think it's also the stress, no?
yeah. It's a
Yeah,
I think
so
it's
many
like
things.
smoking combined with lots of drinking, combined with lots of stress. I think it leads them into this. Then I feel I've taken a lot of care of my own body. But sometimes if I'm going, if I'm taking a flight and I try moving a heavy bag, I suddenly pull something in my hand. I'm like, okay, this used to not happen even like 2 years ago. As my strength reducing. And then I realized as a kid, when you're watching sports, when a player turns 30, you're like, oh, now he's not going to be as strong and fast.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you realize you're an old cricketer or an old footballer now. That's weird. Even at 30, I want to know what 45 is like, what 60 is like being a guy. And when I've spoken to older guys, they say that it's the same thing more intensely.
Right.
Like where suddenly your masculinity is challenged. You know your body is not what it was. And it's a source of pride to be that strong, fast, athletic for a guy.
No, but I guess also when you associate, when your identity is so closely tied in with your masculinity, right? And what you associate that masculinity with.
It could be money-making skills.
Yeah, it could be power. It could be, like you said, being the provider.
I also think girls just know their own minds and hearts better. So they're able to navigate at all stages. This whole thing key. I truly believe, and there's a lot of people who don't believe this, but I truly believe that a 15-year-old girl is way more emotionally mature than a 15-year-old guy.
Of course.
And a 60-year-old girl is way more mature than a 60-year-old guy.
Right.
I think it's because you guys can navigate your heads way better.
Which is why I think traditionally younger, girls would marry boys or men who were at least 5-6 years older than them. Because only then would the emotional maturity match.
Yeah.
So there was a reason. It was not just some superstition. I think that's the reason that happened. I think it's just, I think that's the way that's nature.
Okay. That girl, the shoulder injury girl, was 5 years younger. Didn't work out because I'm at a stage where marriage is the priority and relationships are the priority. And she's at a stage where
it's not.
Yeah, it's not. It's not. It's probably the third priority.
Right.
And I get it because I've been 24 and I know what that feels like. And I feel like, the universe.
But how amazing that you get it.
As in?
That you get why that's not a priority for this point.
You think, why would someone not get it though?
No, but you can, because you want what you want. So you don't have the empathy or the desire to understand why they don't want what you want.
Curse of being an artist.
I guess.
If you're creating art, better be able to understand people's hearts. Yeah. So in the same way that you were starved of film projects, I'm being starved of the one. I think anything I'm trying to do, it's not working out situationally.
Right. Like, what do you mean situationally?
Matlab, the breakups just end up happening. Like, I don't, even if I give it my 200%, it just ends up not working out. I can't believe I'm crying about my love life to Vidya. It's a blessed life.
No, but I guess I keep saying this, that uh, when I stopped looking, I found Siddharth.
You went through this phase, like where
Yeah,
relationships.
actually, I've never wanted to be married. I have to be honest with you. I never saw myself as someone uh, who could get married. I wanted to be with someone, but I'd never thought of myself as like getting married, being married, and all that. But at a certain age, after, Parinita happened when I was 26. And then by the time I was 30, I'd already seen a lot of success. And now I was beginning to want to share it with someone. And I dated a few people and stuff, but it didn't quite work out. And I was feeling lonely. I was feeling like at the end of the day, you want to share your triumphs, your disasters, everything with someone, right? Outside of family. And not everyone has a close equation with their family. I do. But I'm saying I was still craving that other connection. And then I dated a few people and it didn't quite turn out well. It actually put me off. And then I decided that, I said, you know what, forget it.
Did you get cheated on?
Yes, I did. And that's another form of rejection, which is very, very tough.
Because you feel like shit.
Yeah.
You feel like
I'm
shit,
not good enough.
worth nothing.
Yeah, exactly. But in retrospect, I'm so glad all that happened. Because, it's like the wheat chaff, right? When the wheat and the chaff just separate when you put it through a sieve. And that's what happens. So you have to let go of all and I don't mean to demean them as people, but things that don't serve you. But you need these experiences to realize who you are, what kind of relationship you want, what you're willing to give, what you're not willing to not get. Or, what are the non-negotiables? And you don't have to articulate them. They just happen over time. And then I just said, you know what? Okay, I don't want to be with anyone. I'm just going to date now. Just have fun. And at a time when I wasn't expecting it to go anywhere, I met Siddharth.
I guess I'm just going to date now. I'm just going to have fun.
You're really... It's also like, when you stand at the door waiting for someone, it's not that they're going to come faster than it'll take the time for them to reach. If they're 15 minutes away, even if you stand at the door, it'll take them 15 minutes. Right? That's not going to... So you'd rather just chill, do your own thing. They'll reach when they have to.
Because divine timing is a thing.
Yes, exactly.
It is a thing, right?
It is a thing.
I think that's even when I'm hearing your journey, that's the one constant thing I'm seeing. That only when the time is right, the dam's gates open
Na
up.
samay se pehle, na samay ke baad.
Okay. I really appreciate... This is not the end of the podcast, but I really appreciate how much you're just flowing with the artistic process. There are people who've seen way lesser success than you who come into this room thinking that they know the art form. They try telling us how to do our jobs. And it says a lot about you that you're just sitting and you're flowing with our process. I'm going to say this as a compliment. It may not sound like a compliment, but it is a compliment.
Yeah.
I do think that you're eccentric. And I think some of the world's most beautiful people are eccentric.
Oh, thank you.
Some of my best guests are eccentric. And I wish there was a nicer way to sajao that sentence and make you feel like it's a compliment, but just take the emotion.
But now that you've said it's a compliment, thank you.
I truly
take
mean
it
that.
At face value.
Because again, people who've seen the kind of life and success that you've seen don't behave the way you do. That's what I've observed about the world of media, the world of famous India in general. So you're a very different kind of person. And I think that's why God keeps looking out for you and sends divine things at the right time.
Yes, to more of that. Thank you.
Thank you so much for this conversation, Vidya Balan. I wish you so much more of everything that you want, because I don't know what you want.
Thank you.
And again, that's what I think is amazing about you, that you're flowing with life. So whatever you're meant to get, I hope you get it slightly sooner than the divine timing.
How
also.
sweet. Thank you. And I wish you the same and more.
Thank you.
Niyat saaf ho to sab sahi hai. I had to bring in the film somewhere.
It's all good. It's all good. Go watch Niyat, everybody. For Vidya Balan and for my homegirl, Prajakta Kohli.
Yeah, baby.
I really appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you. No, I've enjoyed this genuinely. And yeah, I didn't get a chance to ask you anything, but another time.
Yeah. No, this was just like the icebreaker. I have a feeling I'll be speaking to you again. And I know that that's going to happen based on divine timing when I need great advice. You give great advice.
Oh my God.
There was moments where Shrutesh went like this after a few of your pieces of advice, and that's when I know, okay, it's an impactful episode.
I hope he's not like, oh God, not again.
No. I'm studying like the vibe that my boys have all the time during these shoots. So everyone was gripped, and that's why we're gonna get a lot of views on this one.
Yes to that. I love more views. I love more people walking into the theaters. All of that.
Another small compliment is that I think the internet needs you, and all these perspectives. People don't have these kind of perspectives enough on the internet, so I will leave that to you. Please be available more on the internet.
No, happily. Call me again. I'll come.
Okay, we'll do it. Vidya Balan, thank you. I will let you go now, and I wish you all the love, success, peace, and everything in between.
Thank you, and wish you the same and more.
Thank
This has been lovely, really. Thank you.
That was the conversation for today. What I can guarantee you is that this is not the last time she's going to be on TRS, because it's very rare that I get someone who's able to articulate their heart's thoughts this well. Lots of people can articulate their knowledge. Very few people can articulate what they're feeling on the inside. That's what I personally feel like Vidya Balan's strength is. One of the most humble people I've met from the Hindi film industry. I'm really looking forward to hosting her again. I'll definitely be watching Niyat in theaters for the sake of Vidya Balan and my bestie, Prajakta Kohli. So guys, please go watch Niyat in a theater near you. And until next time, from Ranveer and the team, we will see you soon.